Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Megalith Yugioh deck profile for May 2024. This is a ritual deck that focuses not so much on using ritual spells to summon out these rock ritual monsters, but using the Megalith cards themselves to summon out the many different Megalith ritual monsters that we have in the deck, gaining additional effects off of the different level 4 and level 8 Megalith monsters we can summon out, and going for more of a generic rock lineup to use also with the more generic ritual playstyle that this deck uses as a whole. So it's been a few years since the last update to the Megalith deck. We haven't really gotten any new support since then, but still like to keep the deck up to date with some of the changes I've made to the deck since the last update. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For the Megalith monsters, I'm running 3 copies of Megalith Yugioh. You can ritual summon this card with a Megalith card. If it's ritual summon, you can add 1 Megalith monster from your deck to your hand, except for Megalith Yugioh. During your main phase, you can activate this effect to ritual summon 1 ritual monster from your hand by attributing monsters from your hand or field, including this card, on your field, whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. You can only use this effect of Yugioh once per turn, so being able to then just use this effect is the Megalith card that it entails for the good majority of the Megalith monsters to then be ritual summoned out onto the field. And then when you summon out Yugioh, you get a search for another Megalith monster. We're also running 3 copies of Megalith Full. I would say these are the best 3-ofs to run in the deck, running lower numbers for all the other Megalith monsters. You can ritual summon this card with a Megalith card. If this card is ritual summoned, you can target 1 ritual monster in your graveyard. This card's level becomes the level of that target. Then add that target to your hand. So you have the recycle power along with the level adjustment of Megalith Full. And also, during the main phase quick effect, you can activate this effect to ritual summon 1 Megalith ritual monster from your hand or deck by attributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. You can only use each effect of Full once per turn, but still having the ritual summon this card with a ritual option to then use for this play, for your ritual play as well, to then summon this card out onto the field. Our lower numbers for the Megalith monsters include 2 copies of Megalith Bethor. You can ritual summon this card with a Megalith card. You can discard this card to ritual summon 1 Megalith monster from your hand by attributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed its level. So then just being able to discard this card to ritual summon that Megalith card gives you the options of your summon use for a resource to summon out those other monsters onto the field as well. And if this card is ritual summon, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of ritual monsters with different names in your graveyard and destroy them. So you use Bethor as more of the destruction option as well for your ritual option, being able just to discard Bethor as well to ritual summon 1 Megalith ritual monster from your hand by attributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels acts to activate that additional monster that you may have had for the ritual summon onto the field, giving you the add back power if you use cards like Full, the search power if you use Yugioh for the ritual play, and being lower level numbers for those cards as well. And then also the 2 copies of Megalith Yugioh. With this card, you can ritual summon this card with a Megalith card. If this card is ritual summoned, draw 1 card, then discard 1. During the main phase quick effect, you can activate this effect to ritual summon 1 ritual monster from your hand by attributing monsters from your hand or field during this card on the field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. So you have more of the draw power off this card. Once again, the big play is to get a Megalith monster on the field to then activate its own ritual play and kind of siphon through the many different Megalith ritual monsters that we have in the deck, whether they be the level 4 or the level 8 monsters. Another level 8 we run is Megalith Phaleg. You can ritual summon this card with a Megalith card. You can discard this card to ritual summon 1 Megalith ritual monster from your hand by attributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed its level. So the discard power is going to be one of your main go-to ways to ritual summon out the Megalith cards as well. And also monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense for each ritual monster in your graveyard. So having a good setup of different ritual monsters in the graveyard can also help for the power boost that Phaleg can also help for your monsters on the field, with the last of our Megalith monsters being 2 copies of Megalith Yugioh. You can ritual summon this card with a Megalith card. If this card is ritual summoned, you can add 1 Megalith spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and during your main phase you can activate this effect to ritual summon just like the other ritual monster plays for the Megalith cards. For some of the non-Megalith support, now you have options for either the incantation lineup or going for more of the search power that the cards like Diviner of Herald can help and provide, because you do have a level increase thanks to Diviner of Herald well, being able to also set up your ritual play for searching out cards with Herald of the Arclight and then raising in the level of Herald to then match up for some of the other Megalith cards to use for the tributed play for your cards. If you don't have the Diviner of Herald play, you can always go for more of the incantation lineup, having more of a search power with some of the cards like Kandal being able to add more of the variety of different monsters from your deck to your hand. Also 2 copies of Manju, just being another search for a ritual monster, and then just having that monster, depending on the search you add off of this card, to then use for your play. I like the option for Manju as well because it is a level 4 monster, but once again, you can mix and match the numbers of Diviner and Manju if you wanted to use the incantation lineup as well. The same goes to one other additional tech that I run in the deck, being the Redox Dragon Ruler of the Boulders, using the many different Earth Megalith monsters as a special summon resource for this card as well. With the rest of our main deck monsters just being the Hand Trap Ash Blossom to use along with the Infinite Impermanence. The one thing about this ritual deck is a lot of times I like to invest fully for the numbers, but sometimes you just need those couple Megalith cards in your hand to use for the tribute play option. And then having the cards used as more of a recycle add back play, you can leave some of your other lineups open to just hand traps to run also in the deck. For the Megalith spells, running 3 copies of Megalith Unformed, you activate one of these effects. All monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack for each ritual monster on the field until the end of this turn, or you can ritual summon 1 Megalith ritual monster from your deck in defense by tributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal twice its level. So then, with this play being able to ritual summon that ritual monster from your deck by tributing monsters, it has to equal exactly twice its level, so you'll use the level 8 monster in hand to summon out the level 4 monster from your deck onto the field. So it's a quicker way to also go for a ritual play, using less resources in your hand. You just have to have one of those higher level Megalith monsters to do so, which we do run a good number of in the deck, depending on which ones you want to summon out onto the field also. And then also the 1 copy of Megalith Portal. The first time each ritual summon monster will be destroyed by battle each turn, it's not destroyed. If a Megalith monster is special summoned except during the damage step, you can target 1 ritual monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So just with the playstyle, the more you summon out, the more you can search off of Portal as well. I only run the 1 copy because we can search it with our Megalith monsters to add to our hand, and you just really need the 1. Otherwise, you have another spell in your hand that doesn't really provide much for you to do with the deck also. And then 3 copies of Preparation of Rites, just being more search power for the ritual monsters that are level 4 in the deck. I'm not running pre-Preparation of Rites because you have to search out a spell first off, and we're not running any ritual spells in the deck to search out for. But I am running also 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. You go into the extra deck for more of the rank 4 and rank 8 Xyz plays that you normally would go into. The rest can be used as more banish cost unless they're, once again being sent off of cards like Diviner, to then search for more of the proper Megalith cards you may need off the top of your deck. And also 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent for more or less if our opponent tries to activate a hand trap or any monster effect disrupting our Megalith plays, to at least get either some draw power or opponent's resources even to use for the tribute play. And the 1 Call by the Grave, just once again another way to stop hand traps before your opponent even tries to activate them. For the traps, running 1 copy of Megalith Emergence, a continuous trap. You can target 1 Megalith monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense, but place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. Even if this card leaves the field, you can use this effect of Megalith Emergence once per turn. So the big play that comes down to this play is just being able to target the Megalith monster in our graveyard and special summon it as well. So then just being able to use this play for the summon gives you a resource to then use on the field, which can enact a ritual summon off of the Megalith monster's own card effect. And then lastly for the traps, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, just along with the Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, a hand trap lineup that I prefer to run just as a small engine in the deck also. For the extra deck, we do run a good number of Xyz monsters, having all the different level 4 and level 8 monsters to go into. So the 1 copy of Gallant Granite for the Rock Search, just needing 2 level 4 monsters. The 1 Tornado Dragon, along with the 1 Abyss Dweller and the 1 Baguska. As I said, rank 4 monsters are pretty easy to make in this deck, depending on what you want to summon out. The 1 number 38 and the 1 Heretic Sun Dragon Heliopolis for some of the bigger rank 8 monsters to summon out, with overlay power for both of those in the form of Typhoon and Zeus to use also, with our Link monster lineup being the 1 Dynamondo, the 1 also the Earth Charmer, the 1 Mrs. Radiant, the 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and the 1 Appaloosa. For the Link lineup, most of the time they are banish cost for Pot of Prosperity if need be, but a lot of times I see myself making the option to target 1 card on the field and 1 ritual monster in the graveyard as a resource to use for Dynamondo more than anything else. With the rest of the extra deck, I only have the 1 Arclight and the 1 Garuda for draw power, If you wanted to run more, I don't know where I put the rest of my Herald of the Arclights, sadly, so I would just drop down maybe some more of the generic rank 4 options for more copies of this card, or you can even take out the Garura as just another option to send for draw power also. As for some of the go-to plays in the deck, I would say Megalith Unformed definitely does help for the added setup and play style, just needing that one additional tribute by being able to special summon the ritual monster from our deck for the Megalith cards. So you can summon out Ophiel, and then you'll just need the bigger card in our hand as well. So you'll activate Uniformed and then ritual summon the ritual monster from your deck by attributing the monster with double the level in its hand. Then you can use the monster as well when it's ritual summoned to add one Megalith monster from your deck to your hand, except for Ophiel. So then this will start off the listed play of your Megalith cards, because then with Ophiel you add the monster, then you can activate this effect to ritual summon one ritual monster from your hand by attributing monsters from your hand or field, including this card on your field, whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. So then you'll attribute Ophiel to summon out your Hageth or one of your other level 4 ritual options like Ak. So depending on what you want to go for, because then you can use Hageth to then add a spell or trap from your deck to your hand that has Megalith in its name. So you can use Hageth to add your Megalith portal, activating portal as well. And then the play will have to continue whether you need more of the ritual play, setup, and summon. So then you can either go for your normal summon play as well. You can either be Manju, Diviner. One that gives you a search is going to be your normal summon 2 using the deck as well. Manju can add an additional Megalith card to your hand as well. Then you can use Hageth for the ritual play as well, for you to then have the option for you when you have portal on the field to summon out your Megalith Ak onto the field, and then being able to draw a card and discard a card, which can help to just set up more and more cards in your hand. And then you either have the play option for the rank 4 Xyz monster using your 2, you'll have the search back power as well to target a ritual monster in your graveyard and add back to your hand, which in turn portal can also just continue your plays, because then you can use Ak for the ritual summon as well. But they are once per turn plays, so you can either keep that resource in your hand or go for more of the overlay search to go into Gallant Granite to search out more ritual monsters as well, because then you'll have Bethor or one of the bigger ritual monsters in our hand to then use for the lower level ones also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed it. Definitely an overlooked deck, but still a fun one if you're a ritual fan. One that, doesn't really follow the normal standards for ritual plays compared to a lot of decks, but still a very interesting one at that. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.